Welcome. Today, we've got some weird and wonderful facts about some of the most powerful people in history. Stick around for some surprising insights. First up, Confucius, the great Chinese philosopher. Did you know he had a thing for dragons? Legend has it that his mother dreamt of a dragon before his birth, and Confucius himself claimed to have descended from dragons. In Chinese culture, dragons symbolize wisdom and power, which Confucius definitely had. Next, let's talk about Christopher Columbus. We all know him as the man who discovered America, but did you know he was also convinced he saw mermaids? During his voyages, Columbus wrote in his diary about seeing 3 mermaids, which were actually manatees. Guess his sea adventures were a little too wild. On to Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers of all time. Aristotle had some pretty weird ideas about biology. He believed that eels emerged from mud because he couldn't find their reproductive organs. Turns out, he just didn't know about eel migration and their unique breeding process. Now, Michael Faraday, the brilliant scientist known for his work on electromagnetism, was actually quite modest. He turned down a knighthood because he believed in the simplicity of his Quaker faith. Faraday also refused to use the common Sir title, staying humble despite his groundbreaking discoveries. Next, Plato, the student of Socrates and teacher of Aristotle, had some interesting ideas about the human body. He believed that our souls have 3 parts: reason, spirit, and appetite. He even thought the liver was the seat of desires and emotions. It's a little odd, but it shaped early psychological theories. Thomas Jefferson, one of America's founding fathers, had a quirky side too. He was obsessed with fossilized bones and had a mastodon skeleton assembled in the entrance hall of his home, Monticello. Jefferson was fascinated by natural history and believed America was home to gigantic prehistoric animals. Also, Jefferson was a prolific letter writer and invented a polygraph device that allowed him to write duplicate letters. On to William the Conqueror, the first Norman king of England, was known for his large appetite and immense size. After his death, his body was so swollen that it couldn't fit in the stone sarcophagus prepared for him. When they forced it in, the body burst, causing quite a mess during his funeral. Additionally, William implemented the use of the curfew bell in England. Every night, a bell rang to signal that fires should be extinguished as a precaution against nighttime fires. This was an early form of public safety regulation. Next, Hernando Cortes, the Spanish conquistador, was known for his dramatic and ruthless tactics. He kept a pet jaguar, which he used to intimidate and impress both his men and the indigenous people he encountered. Cortes also had a flair for theatrics. He once buried a stash of gold and then pretended to discover it by chance just to watch his men scramble in greed. His love for psychological manipulation didn't stop there. During his conquest of the Aztec Empire, he famously burned his own ships to prevent his men from retreating, making it clear that there was no turning back. Now, Johann Sebastian Bach, the famous composer, had a wild sense of humor. He once got into a brawl with a student who insulted his music. Bach also loved practical jokes. He once snuck a piece of paper into his brother's harpsichord that made it impossible to play certain notes, just to see his reaction. Finally, Enrico Fermi, the physicist known for creating the first nuclear reactor, had an unusual habit. He loved making bets about scientific phenomena with his colleagues. Once, he bet that he could estimate the intensity of a nuclear explosion just by dropping small pieces of paper and observing how far they were blown away. Surprisingly, his rough calculations were quite accurate. Well, there you have it, some weird and wonderful facts about powerful people in history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more amazing content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.